Article 110.26 At-war of the National Electrical Code addresses the required working space for electrical equipment operating at 480 volts. These clearances are crucial for ensuring the safety of personnel who may need to access or work on the equipment while it is energized. The code specifies minimum distances that must be maintained both in front of the equipment and to the sides, as well as the height of the working space. These dimensions are determined based on the voltage to ground, the condition of the installation, and the presence of exposed live parts. Understanding and adhering to these clearance requirements is not merely a suggestion but a mandatory safety measure enforced by the National Electrical Code. The purpose of these clearances is to provide sufficient space for electricians and other qualified personnel to safely perform their tasks without the risk of accidental contact with energized components. The minimum depth of the working space in front of electrical equipment operating at 480 volts depends on the voltage to ground and the conditions of the installation as defined in the NEC. There are three conditions outlined in Article 110.26a that determine the minimum depth required. Condition 1 exists where there are exposed live parts on one side of the working space and no grounded parts or grounded parts suitably guarded or insulated on the other side of the working space. In Condition 1, for equipment operating at 151 volts to 600 volts, the minimum clear distance is 3 feet or 900 millimeters. Condition 2 exists where there are exposed live parts on one side of the working space and grounded parts on the other side. Concrete, brick, and tile walls are considered as grounded. In Condition 2, for equipment operating at 151 volts to 600 volts, the minimum clear distance is 3.5 feet or 1070 millimeters. Condition 3 exists where there are exposed live parts on both sides of the working space. In Condition 3, for equipment operating at 151 volts to 600 volts, the minimum clear distance is 4 feet or 1200 millimeters. The width of the working space must be a minimum of 30 inches or 762 millimeters, or the width of the equipment, whichever is greater, and shall permit at least a 90-degree opening of equipment doors or hinged panels. It's essential to maintain this minimum width to allow for safe access and maneuvering while working on the equipment. The working space height must extend from the grade, floor, or platform to a height of 6.5 feet or 1980 millimeters, or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater. This vertical clearance ensures that personnel can stand upright and work comfortably without being obstructed by low-hanging objects or structures. The NEC also addresses specific situations where the required working space can be reduced. These exceptions typically involve the use of barriers, enclosures, or other protective measures that minimize the risk of accidental contact with energized parts. However, it is crucial to carefully evaluate these exceptions and ensure that they provide an equivalent level of safety as the standard clearance requirements. Adequate illumination is also required in the working space around electrical equipment. Article 110.26d states that illumination shall be provided for all working spaces about service equipment, switchboards, panel boards, or motor control centers installed indoors. The light outlet shall be arranged so that persons changing lamps or making repairs on the equipment will not be endangered by live parts or other equipment. Proper lighting enhances visibility and reduces the likelihood of accidents while working on electrical equipment. Equipment such as switchboards, panel boards, and motor control centers must be located in dedicated spaces and protected from damage. Article 110.26e emphasizes the importance of keeping these spaces clear and accessible. Foreign equipment that introduces hazards to the electrical equipment is not allowed in these dedicated spaces. Additionally, the area above the dedicated space must be kept clear of piping, ducts, or other equipment that could leak or cause damage to the electrical equipment below. The 480 volts disconnect must be readily accessible. This means that it should be located in a place that is easily reached and not obstructed by obstacles. The disconnect should also be clearly labeled to indicate its purpose. Proper labeling helps to prevent confusion and ensures that the correct disconnect is de-energized when necessary. Regular inspections and maintenance are essential for ensuring that the working space around electrical equipment remains safe and compliant with the NEC. Obstructions such as storage boxes, tools, and debris should be removed promptly. Damaged or missing barriers, enclosures, and warning signs should be replaced immediately. By maintaining a clean and organized working space, you can minimize the risk of accidents and ensure the safety of personnel who work on or near electrical equipment. It's important to note that the NEC is a comprehensive document that provides detailed requirements for a wide range of electrical installations. The information provided here is intended as a general overview of the clearance requirements for 480 volts disconnects and should not be considered a substitute for consulting the NEC itself. Always refer to the latest edition of the NEC and consult with a qualified electrical professional for specific guidance on your particular installation. In addition to the NEC, local codes and regulations may also apply. These local requirements may be more stringent than the NEC in some cases, so it's important to be aware of and comply with all applicable codes and regulations. Failure to comply with these requirements can result in fines, penalties, and even legal action. Moreover, it can create unsafe working conditions that put personnel at risk. Understanding the specific requirements for your equipment and location is crucial for ensuring electrical safety. Always consult the manufacturer's instructions and specifications for the equipment you are working with. The manufacturer's instructions may provide additional details on clearance requirements, installation procedures, and safety precautions. Furthermore, it's important to consider the specific characteristics of your facility and the types of activities that take place in the area around the electrical equipment. For example, if the equipment is located in a manufacturing plant where heavy machinery is used, it may be necessary to provide additional protection to prevent accidental damage. If the equipment is located in a wet or damp environment, it may be necessary to use waterproof enclosures and fittings to prevent corrosion and electrical hazards. Consider the potential for future expansion or modifications when planning the location and installation of electrical equipment. It's always a good idea to leave some extra space around the equipment to accommodate future needs. This will make it easier to add new equipment or modify existing equipment without having to relocate the entire installation. Electrical safety is a shared responsibility. Everyone who works on or near electrical equipment has a role to play in preventing accidents and ensuring a safe working environment. By following the NEC, local codes, and manufacturer's instructions, and by maintaining a clean and organized working space, you can help to minimize the risk of electrical hazards. Consider additional safety measures beyond the minimum requirements of the NEC. These measures may include the use of personal protective equipment such as safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. It may also include the implementation of lockout/tagout procedures to ensure that equipment is de-energized before any work is performed. Regularly review and update your electrical safety program to reflect changes in the NEC, local codes, and industry best practices. This will help to ensure that your program remains effective and relevant. By investing in electrical safety training, you can empower your employees to identify and avoid electrical hazards. Training should cover topics such as basic electrical theory, safe work practices, lockout/tagout procedures, and the proper use of personal protective equipment. Encourage employees to ask questions and report any safety concerns they may have. Creating a culture of safety is essential for preventing accidents and ensuring a safe working environment. By prioritizing electrical safety, you can protect your employees, your equipment, and your business. The clearance requirements specified in Article 110.26 ATWO are not arbitrary numbers but rather carefully calculated distances that provide a reasonable level of safety for qualified personnel working on or near energized electrical equipment. These clearances account for factors such as the voltage level, the potential for arc flash, and the need for adequate space to maneuver and perform tasks safely. While it may be tempting to reduce clearances to save space or reduce construction costs, it is important to resist this temptation and adhere to the NEC requirements. Shortchanging clearances can create a dangerous working environment and increase the risk of electrical accidents. In addition to the minimum clearances specified in the NEC, it is often advisable to provide additional clearance when possible. This extra space can make it easier to work on the equipment and reduce the likelihood of accidental contact with energized parts. Moreover, it can improve the overall appearance and maintainability of the installation. The NEC is constantly evolving to reflect new technologies, industry best practices, and lessons learned from past accidents. It is important to stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC and to incorporate these changes into your electrical safety program. This will help to ensure that your program remains effective and relevant in protecting your employees and your equipment. Regular audits of your electrical installations can help to identify potential hazards and ensure compliance with the NEC and other applicable codes and regulations. These audits should be conducted by qualified electrical professionals who have a thorough understanding of electrical safety principles and the requirements of the NEC. The 480 volts disconnect clearance requirements are essential for electrical safety. By understanding and complying with these requirements, you can create a safer working environment for your employees and prevent electrical accidents. Remember to consult the latest edition of the NEC and consult with a qualified electrical professional for specific guidance on your particular installation. Proper planning, installation, and maintenance are key to ensuring electrical safety. A dedicated space for electrical equipment, free from obstructions, allows for safer operation and maintenance. Maintaining proper lighting in these spaces is also crucial for visibility and accident prevention. Consistent training and adherence to safety protocols are paramount for all personnel working with electrical equipment. The NEC provides a baseline for safety, and exceeding these standards when possible is always a good practice. Local regulations should also be taken into account, as they may have more stringent requirements than the NEC. Equipment should be regularly inspected for any signs of wear or damage, and any issues should be addressed immediately. Creating a culture of safety is essential for preventing electrical accidents and ensuring a safe working environment. Regular training, clear communication, and adherence to safety protocols are all vital components of a successful safety program.